On this channel, we're always going to try to find the earliest stage assets on the planet with the tiniest market caps on the planet. Today, we're going to talk about two tiny micro cap assets with market caps well below $10 million. These are totally undiscovered. And again, the goal is life-changing upside. The easiest way to do that is to find super high-quality assets with as low a market cap as possible, because the lower the market cap, the more explosive the upside. So to start, let's hear from Michael Saylor on his take on how instruments like the ones we're about to talk about work.
I see Metaplanet was a $10 million company, and a few months ago it was a $1 billion company, and in the last week or two it's been flirting with a $4 or $5 billion company. Most successful stock in the stock market. You know, the blockchain group in France has exploded out of the blocks, and they're just growing incredibly fast. Everywhere I go at this conference, someone says, you know, I'm working on a Bitcoin treasury company in Hong Kong. I'm doing this thing in Korea. I've got this thing I'm working on in Abu Dhabi. We're going to do this in the Middle East. You know, we've got this in the UK. We're ready to launch one in Canada. We're launching one in Norway. You know, we're doing this in Germany.
So what he's talking about is the treasury model that publicly traded companies have adopted around Bitcoin. He mentioned Metaplanet. So let's take a look at the chart of Metaplanet. He said it's the best performing stock in the stock market. All this company did was stack Bitcoin on its balance sheet. It started off as a very small market cap asset. The price in October of 2024 was $100. And since then, it's hit $1,500, all from adopting the Bitcoin treasury model. So there's explosive potential upside for assets that adopt the Bitcoin treasury model. Now, if you believe in any other assets besides Bitcoin, like Bittensor, for example, then maybe the potential is there as well for an altcoin like Bittensor. And where it gets ridiculously exciting is headlines like this. Bittensor TAO becomes the next pick in the wave of public crypto treasuries. So again, why is this treasury strategy so successful? Because what these companies are doing is printing shares, selling shares, acquiring Bitcoin. So essentially, they're dumping their shares on the market. They're turning around, using those shares to buy Bitcoin. So the day they do that transaction, it's like a net zero impact to the shareholder. Because let's say there's 100 shares of a company. You own one of those shares. The company dumps 100 shares on the market. Now there's 200 shares. You had one, so it looks like you're diluted. But since they used those funds of the 100 shares that they dumped on the market to buy Bitcoin, now your one share owns Bitcoin, and it didn't before. So you're not really diluting the shareholder because that shareholder owns Bitcoin. And they can just keep repeating this process. And as long as the underlying crypto goes up and has bullish fundamentals that propel it higher, as long as that keeps happening, the shareholder gets richer and richer and richer because the company that they had a share in now owns lots of some of the highest quality asset on the planet, and their balance sheets get huge and they can borrow money against their balance sheets. So imagine if you had one share in 100 share company, they dump billions of shares on the market. Now their balance sheet has billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of a crypto asset like Bitcoin or TAO. Now they can do a whole lot with that capital. They can borrow against it. They can buy other companies. They can buy even more of that asset. The market cap of the company goes up. The value of the company goes up. And all they did was exchange their shares for a very high quality asset. So over time, the price of that company skyrockets. We saw it with MicroStrategy. We're seeing it with Metaplanet. We're starting to see it with other crypto treasury companies. Today, we're going to talk about brand new crypto treasury companies who are adopting this strategy around TAO, right? Again, TAO is already a totally undiscovered asset. So if you have publicly traded companies adopting TAO, that means they're going to be even more undiscovered with potentially way more upside. So let's dive into two of these assets. Recently, Oblong, a NASDAQ-listed IT solutions provider, announced its plan to raise $7.5 million through private stock offering. The funds will support its digital asset and AI strategy, which is based on Bittensor. The company will primarily use the money to purchase TAO tokens and to develop the decentralized AI market, including Subnet Zero. This strategy aims to generate yield from holding TAO. So what makes TAO even better than holding Bitcoin is TAO provides staking rewards, massive staking rewards. So if they just buy TAO, sell shares, buy TAO, stake it in the root subnet, they're going to all of a sudden be making like 18 or 20% income on those assets. You can't do that with Bitcoin right now. You can't make 20%, but with TAO, you can all of a sudden start earning 20% passive income revenue that you can use to buy more TAO. So you just get richer and richer and richer as you stack more TAO. So that's what this company Oblong is doing. So they announced a private placement of $7.5 million. So they did sell shares onto the market, but what is the current market cap of this company? Because that gets very, very, very interesting. The current market cap of this company is $5.3 million as of Friday, June 13th evening. They're selling $7.5 million worth of shares. In theory, they can buy $7.5 million worth of TAO. The market cap is only $5 million. So the market cap appears to be lower than the TAO they are buying with their shares. Now, of course, there's going to be some selling pressure on the stock, but the stock is just going to acquire more and more and more TAO that they're going to stake for passive income. So the flywheel is still in effect. The market cap is still tiny on this asset. And the more TAO they stack, the more they're going to be able to stack. Here is the team of Oblong. The Oblong team caught up with Bittensor co-founder Ala Shabana in Paris. So it seems they're somewhat connected to insiders within the Bittensor ecosystem. This is the team. Now, the only downside to this strategy is you have to really trust the team. I can't say that I trust the team of Oblong. I have no idea who they are. Right. So again, it's a downside of the strategy. You have to trust the team. Why do people like MicroStrategy? Because they trust Michael Saylor. This company does not have the best track record, so it gets harder and harder to trust it, right? In 2014, the stock price was $8.13 thousand. Now it's $3.6, right? So what that tells you is they've diluted their shareholders. They just keep dumping shares on the market. Now, finally, they're going to start acquiring a valuable asset like TAO, which if they do it right, could send this thing up 100x to a market cap of $500 million in a bull market as TAO goes up, right? Very possible. You just have to trust the team. That's where it gets difficult. So the way to play these assets is to diversify. It's the only way because we cannot put faith in the team to make the right decision. Now, in theory, they should make the right decision. As long as they keep stacking lots and lots and lots of TAO, they should do totally fine. They just have to be disciplined. I don't know if they're going to be disciplined, but I know if they keep stacking TAO, this company could 100x in the next bull run. Now, when it comes to diversification, what other assets are doing this? Synaptogenix is another one. Synaptogenix, another NASDAQ-listed firm, revealed its plan to initially acquire $10 million worth of TAO, more than double the company's current market capitalization. Synaptogenix has set a long-term goal to increase its TAO holdings to $100 million. The effort is led by well-known crypto and AI expert James Altucher. Altucher emphasized that his strategy focuses not just on potential profits from staking and token price growth, it also aims to rebrand the company's name and stock ticker to reflect its TAO-based digital strategy. This demonstrates Synaptogenix's strong belief in Bittensor's long-term potential. So let's take a look at the market cap of Synaptogenix again as of Friday, June 13th, $5.2 million. And in theory, they just raised $10 million, right? So again, these are tiny market cap assets. Can they 100x? Can this reach $600 million? It absolutely can. Again, all that has to happen is TAO has to go up. The value of the TAO in these assets balance sheets goes up. The value of the company goes up. They can issue more stock. They can buy more and more and more. Now, all of a sudden, the market cap of this asset could be $1 billion one day, right? It's a snowball. It worked for MicroStrategy. It worked for MetaPlanet. If TAO can 20x, this thing should massively outperform TAO. So their initial acquisition is $10 million in TAO, equates to over 2 times the company's current market capitalization, total acquisition target of $100 million. Very undervalued. Again, that's because the market does not understand TAO at all. Here's who James Altuche is. I created the first Bitcoin-only store back in 2013 where I sold my book, Choose Yourself. Even back then, I knew crypto was the future of the financial system. The mainstream media thought I was crazy, but I didn't care, right? He's an early adopter of Bitcoin. Now we have these early adopters of Bitcoin moving to TAO. Barry Silbert, James Altuche. These guys are buying TAO way earlier than Michael Saylor first bought Bitcoin, right? They're buying it at a $3 billion market cap. So if TAO can hit a $100 billion market cap and these guys have hundreds of thousands of TAO, then these companies are going to get extremely wealthy. So these are just huge upside bets on TAO. Again, the only issue is we can't trust the team. We hope they're going to make the right decision. They already seem to be making smart decisions by choosing TAO as their treasury asset. Because if you believe in TAO, then you want to buy as much of it as possible. And these guys are buying as much as possible. This is so bullish for TAO overall. And there's more incoming of these assets. Additional TAO treasury companies, privately held and soon to be publicly traded. TAObase, XTAO, Cephalo, TensorSuite. So more and more of these are coming, more diversification opportunities. Because again, we can't necessarily trust the team, but if we can diversify into a bunch of these tiny cap assets, they can skyrocket. Again, their head is in the right place. Their strategy is sound. They can 100x in price in a bull market. Obviously, in a down market, these can do terrible. So invest at your own risk. I'm just presenting you the facts and the early stage opportunities I come across. That's the whole point of this channel. Life-changing returns through early stage investing.